3721, left intercept the final bearing 222.
3272 miles.
Would you say troubleshooter 614 approach radio check?
Hello everyone out there. I hope you all are doing good, and this is Amir, the voice actor, and I'm going to launch a series of podcasts, and they're going to be based on different topics. Before we start, let me just request you all to please stay safe, because your life is not just yours, it belongs to so many people. So today, the first episode of this series is about airlines. We're going to talk about the airlines all around the world and their rankings, their quality, and for that, we have an expert here. And the guy's name is Amar Riaz. How are you, Amar?
I'm fine, thank you.
Amar is a person who I claim that has a lot of information about a lot of things, so I found him the best person out of the lot so that we can have the best information with facts and figures. It's not just, throwing the arrows in the air. So, yeah, it's all about Amar and his knowledge, his research work, and everything. So today, talking about airlines, we're going to talk about the topmost airline at the moment. So over to you, Amar.
Thank you very much. First of all, congratulations on launching this podcast and series.
Thank you.
And hopefully I'm going to be part of this going forward.
For a long time, I promise you that, bro.
Oh, thank you very much. So you've asked me, and as you've just said, that we're going to talk about airlines, so I'm super excited. On top of that, you've talked about the best airline at the present times. Let's just talk about the 2019's best airline for this podcast. And
let me guess, it's US Airlines, right?
US doesn't have a premier airline, to be honest.
Don't tell me that.
No, they don't.
Come on.
No.
US guys are gonna kill me, man.
No, they themselves know that they're so bad.
Okay, so
in the airline industry, yeah.
To the listener's surprise, we have no US Airlines in the premier list.
Of course not.
So sit back and listen to what we have here.
So the best airline for 2019 according to the users rating and according to a famous World Airline Awards presenting website, or the organization we call it Skytrax.
Okay.
It's a UK based online website organization. So the best airline for the year 2019, it was Qatar Airways.
Wow! Cheers, everyone! It's Qatar. It's all Qatar.
Yeah, so it's Qatar Airways, and let's just dig into it.
I'm excited about it.
Yep, sure. So am I. So we'll talk about a bit of history of Qatar Airways.
Okay.
We'll talk about how they performed over the years, their recent concluding years, financial performance, their fleet, their destination, subsidiaries, and whatnot. We all have presentation ready for this podcast.
Right, very right. Amar, before we dig into it, there's just one question that I want to ask, and that is, what makes an airline on top of the list?
Well, that's a very good question, and many people would like to know the point or the rating points that make an airline the world's best. So there are around 800 to 500 different products and services that are considered while recognizing an airline to be the best, which includes everything from airport services to the onboard services, including the classes, including the crew members, including the lounges, onboard, the onboarding process, and then of course your baggage claim and everything. So it basically starts from booking your airline till then you land at the destination airport and leave the airport. So this whole what you can say the process. It has 500 to 800 different things involved on which a certain airline is recognized as.
You missed out on the hostess, the beautiful ones.
Oh yes, of course they're part of that. The crew members. So Qatar Airways, it's a state-owned airline. The country owned.
Okay.
And its hub is in Doha, the Hamad International Airport.
Okay.
And let's just talk about its beginning. It started its operation on January 20th, 1994. So at the time we are doing this podcast, they are also almost, but in fact, they are 26 years old already.
Wow.
So I'm sorry, I have just a bit of cough
No
today.
problem, man. No problem at all.
Thank you very much. You need to bear with me for this. For today, talk about their fleet size at current in as of 2020 January. They are operating almost around 244 aircrafts.
Okay.
Which serve 6 continents, including 172 different destinations around the globe.
It's a huge number, isn't it? I mean, you really need to have a big airport for that, don't you?
Oh, well, 172 destinations is probably, if not the most, but among the most number of destinations covered by any airline today. And talk about the airport, definitely you need a huge, humongous size of airport to travel millions of people.
Almost a city, you know? A small city, you can say.
Well, yeah. Maybe larger than the Vatican City, probably.
Well, Vatican
Yeah.
City is going nowhere. Okay.
Yeah. So, Qatar Airways, they operate 8 subsidiaries, including Qatar Cargo,
Okay.
Qatar Executive, and there are 6 more. So, if we talk about the code sharing agreement in the airline industry, we do have this code sharing agreement among the airlines.
Yeah, it's an important point. You really need to actually elaborate on what actually is the code sharing thing.
So basically, code sharing is an agreement between among different airlines.
Okay.
It could range from 2 to, let's just say, 20s or 30s or whatever number. If you talk about Qatar Airways, they have a code sharing agreement with 13 different airlines. And they have given this agreement a name which is called One World.
One world. Okay.
Yes. And through this code sharing, they basically help each other get the passengers from all over the globe to different destinations in the world.
That's really
So
good.
basically, let's just say, for just an example, if an airline, let's just say Qatar Airways has an agreement with an airline called France Air, and if France Air operates to the Australian market, and I'm just quoting just as an example,
Okay.
and if Qatar Airways doesn't, so under this agreement, people can book their flights using Qatar Airways, but they will travel on Air France.
Very right, very right. This is an important point, listeners. This is really important. You really need to re-listen once it's on air. You really need to re-listen. This is very important for everyone.
Yeah, so basically this is how they operate, and then this is how both the airlines generate revenue, they generate money, and it all comes down to the level of service, and then of course money is key for airlines to operate.
Right.
So that's the basic information about the airline.
Right. There's just one thing that I wanted to mention here about Amar is that if you could just notice the tone and the thinking criteria that he naturally has adopted, this brings everyone else to on the same table that the guy has got some research work. So yeah, nothing is coming out of nowhere. It's all statistics.
Yes.
So Amar, please continue.
So we talked about measuring an airline, giving them different scores. So to be very specific, if we talk about how, and if someone asks what points or what areas an airline is recognized on, so it's basically either the airline is achieving high overall quality performance or high standards of airport and onboard product services, together with consistent and excellent standards of staff service delivery across the airport, and of course the cabin services and the announcements and the environment of the airline, the lounge at the airport. That all matters.
You mean it takes a lot for an airline to stay on top?
Exactly, and Qatar Airways, they have been a star performer for a number of years now, and years after years they have been performing exceptionally well. They are among the only 10 5-star airlines.
Right. Okay, Mar. There's just one more question that I wanted to ask, and that is, as far as I know, I'm a newbie, and I'm kind of a layman when it comes to airlines and all about that. When it comes to measuring an airline to stay on top, is it a particular badge that they have, or there's something else that, or collectively, I would say, they stay on top just because they've been rated just for one thing or multiple things? Because I've noticed that there are various airlines that they've been awarded different badges, the best crew, or whatever you name it. So where does Qatar stand? Is it just one aspect that it's on top of every airline, or it's a multiple kind of thing?
No, that's a very good question, and people will obviously be looking forward to this particular question. They might have it in their minds. So the answer is very simple, and the answer is that an airline has to be, on average, on every single point that they are recognized on, the best airline is considered the best because they are, on average, they come up with good scores on all the points. So if we have, let's just say, I'm just quoting an example, if we have 20 points on which an airline is being recognized, and Qatar Airways, they somehow performed a little low on, let's just say, 3 or 4, but otherwise they've been 5 out of 5. So you accumulate the 20 the points of those 20 areas that we're recognizing, and then you add up them, and then you calculate this score and compare it with other airlines, and the topper gets the top.
That's some calculation. That's really challenging. From challenging, I just came up with a question that just popped up. Recently, there was an incident in the Middle East. I would say Qatar and the other, I would say premises or whatever you call it.
The countries,
the Arabic countries, that Qatar Airways were not supposed to fly in or on these areas, and they faced a huge financial loss. So how much that impacted this airline, and you can say, what is the reason still that they're on top?
Well, very good question. First, the incident that you talked about that happened in 2017, late in the second half of 2017, when 6, I believe, different Arabic countries, including Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Bahrain, they all went against Qatar for some odd reason. We don't talk about that in this podcast, but yep. So they were denied flying into those areas, and one of the setbacks was the Hajj and Umrah, the pilgrimage that people do every year all year long. That was a setback, of course, to the airline, because they were not allowed to enter any of these areas, particularly these 2 major Islamic sites, which obviously hit them hard, and they were in all 10 rooms. They went into loss, I believe, in first half 2018, of course, and then they recovered well, solely because their services are top notch.
Okay. Mark, we're gonna wind up here, but before that, I would like you to elaborate a little more on Qatar Airways, because this discussion, I know it's going way much ahead of time, but it's really interesting, and I really want people to know that what else Qatar has to offer to people to stand out.
Well, that's a basic thing that we not talked about, and thank you very much that you've asked the question. Basically, we have missed the most important thing, that's the classes that an airline operates. So Qatar has 3 class airline system, which is first business and of course economy. The business class, they've given it a name. It's called the Q Suite.
Q Suite.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in their A350s and their
Q, the letter Q,
the letter Q.
not QUEUE.
No. Of course not.
Okay.
So business class, first class, economy class, and they have their IFE entertainment system, which is Oryx One.
Oryx One.
Yeah.
And what is IFE, and how is it different from business or economy class?
Well, IFE is it means in-flight entertainment. It's a system that an airline has. It has become a basic, and regardless of the class, they are the same.
So you mean to say that in-flight entertainment is not in business and economy class? You don't have any such privilege over there. You don't have screen. You don't have anything to
No,
watch.
that would be a big joke if they don't provide that to those two.
So how is it different from the normal, the viewership and everything?
As I said, they are across the board. They are the same. They have this one Oryx One IFE system that is available on first, business, and economy class.
Cool.
And in this Oryx One, they're providing 400,000 plus options, audio, video, in which they have movies, dramas, games, even live TV.
Okay.
And they also have a loyalty program, which is the program called Privilege Club.
Okay.
And it's basically for the people who travel a lot. It's for them to be a part of this program and earn some points and get benefited.
That's really awesome. Okay, there's one more thing, and then we're gonna go towards the closure of this podcast. Listeners, please stay with us. This is really important, because what we want is whatever the information we share here, it gets to your ears and to your brains clear cut. So there's one last question that I'm gonna ask Amar, and that is, when we talk about humongous planes, the Airbuses and Boeings and all that. So how many Airbuses and Boeings do we have in Qatar Airways, Amar?
Well, just like any other airline, they are operating both Airbus and Boeing.
Okay.
And within Airbus, they have narrow body and wide body, both, ranging from A319-100 LRs to A380-800s, the world's biggest airliner, with a seating capacity of 517 people. That's huge.
Can you repeat how much?
517.
517 people. When 500 people are collectively standing or sitting in a hall, it's the number. They can all be accommodated in Airbus A380-800. Wow.
Yeah, it's since its launch, people have been really going crazy about this aircraft, the A380-800, and unfortunately, the aircraft's production has halted and finished, and they're not producing this product anymore from Airbus.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's another topic that we're going to discuss
You just
some other
killed my
time.
excitement. You just killed my excitement, man.
Well, you don't need to be really sad about it because they're coming up with really exciting products. And when we talk about aircrafts, mentioning without Boeing, we cannot proceed. Boeing, they've Boeing 777s majorly, and they are also operating the Dreamliner 787, and they've ordered the upcoming 777X.
Oh wow, 777X.
Yes, and its first flight will be in 2021.
2021.
Yes.
Right. Very right. Okay. So, listeners, we're gonna wind up here, and I'm gonna thank Amar a lot about all the information that he's shared with us and with you as well. So, Amar, the voice actor from the first episode of our series of aircrafts. We're gonna come back and stay tuned. Thank you so much, Amar, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Amar, the voice actor. See you again.